Hello, GenRight Nation. It is December 6th. Can you believe we're already into December? The year is almost over. Thanks for joining us today. If you're watching us live, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Please like and subscribe and share these videos. This is something that we do every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on both Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you turn on everything so you get the notifications and you don't miss one of these Tech Talk shows. This is set up so that you can type in a comment and it'll be read to me as a question. So we've got somebody here who's monitoring that and they'll read those off to me. Maybe Jen, can you tell me who's already watching?
Sure. We've got Steve Waterman, Ed Gladden Jr.
Big Steve, nice.
Mark Lawrence, hello GenRight Nation. Steve Bird and Tammy Bird.
All right, from Michigan, even Tammy, huh?
Hopefully,
wow.
Well, Tammy's probably recovering right about now,
Poor
but
Tammy.
hopefully she's doing well. Shane Walford's watching.
All right.
Joe Verhelst, Anthony Paquette says, Happy Holidays, GenRight family from Katy, Texas.
Awesome.
Robert Hadley says hello from Virginia Beach.
Awesome.
Michael Atkinson, hello from Ohio.
Wow.
Kathy McCavis. Two Feather Channel, Jerry DeRimple, Keith Crum, Adam Halfley, Sean Holland, Robert Lavoie, Matt McDonough.
Nice.
and
I
a
was
whole
hoping to
bunch
see
of
Jerry.
others.
I was hoping to see Jerry out at our turkey run, but I guess he had some trailer problems trying to get over to us. So maybe we'll catch up with him next time. All
Anthony
right.
wants to know what's for dinner.
What's for dinner? I have no idea. Do you have any idea?
No, I think we have a lasagna.
Maybe leftovers. I don't know.
Kevin Hudson.
Kevin Hudson's
watching.
He's getting all the rain that I showed you this morning on the news. Those floods.
He says wild hogs.
Yeah. Well, I rode the Harley today. Yeah. So.
Ari's
stuff.
watching. Nick Repanich is watching.
Wow.
He says snow in paradise.
Nice.
Ginger's watching. Hi, Ginger.
Hey, Ginger.
1-800 tow you out. Is that Travis?
Nice.
All right.
All right. Well,
Kelly
if you guys
Sims.
have missed previous Tech Talks, you can always go over to the GenRight YouTube channel and watch them again. We post them up so you can watch them again. Today, we are going to be giving away a $250 K&N gift card. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. You'll have to answer a question a little bit later on in the show, but that is a nice gift card for here in December. All right. Brand new is a really fun thing. And can they see it on the screen right now?
Yeah.
They can.
Well.
The
Yes.
little CJ. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Axial, we worked with Axial to really bring this thing. It's been about 2 years to bring this to market. It was really cool to work with Axial and do some of our branding on this. And this is pretty much a replica of Keith Lyon, one of our sales guys, retro rocker is what we call it, his CJ-7. But first, I want to play you guys a video. And if this doesn't get your juices flowing for an RC, I'm not sure what will. Yes, very, very cool.
I love the little rock rail.
I know,
rock.
yeah.
That's so cute.
That was really cool.
so realistic.
All right. So let's see what we got here.
They want to know if there's an LJ conversion in the works.
Oh, hang on. I got to close that.
CJ-7. This is going to be...
We got the next video planned. All right. How do I go full screen on this baby here? There we go. All right.
Steve Bird says Tammy needs that as a get well gift. Can we get a discount
There you go.
code? They need discount code.
All right. So we have a special guest. Randall is with us, Randall Davis from Axial, and he's the one that I worked with on bringing this thing to reality. So he's on with us. He can answer questions. So we'd like to get a whole dialogue going. Randall, why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about how this project went and, you know, just kind of some of the behind the scenes stuff. Are you there? Randall? I can't hear you.
Oh, are you there?
There we go. There we go. All right.
Can't
So
hear you yet, Tony. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. How about now?
yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, now I got you.
All
Sorry
right.
about
That's okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about this whole project. And, you know, obviously everybody watching can see the Jeep. They can see you. So tell us all about it.
Well, like you said, it's been a project that was about 2 years in the making. It took a while to really get the details of the vehicle dialed in and get the scaling of the vehicle right and get everything dialed in on it. But it's a vehicle based on our SCX-10 chassis, which has been proven over and over again. It comes with the dig function installed, and it comes with the 2-speed option built into it. So if you have a 4-channel transmitter, you can add the 2-speed option to it, or you can just deal with it with a dig. Me personally, I like it with just the dig function in it. I don't really. 2-speed option is great. It's fun to see it shift, but at the same time, I think dig is more functional than anything. As you well know, being an off-roader, the dig function works very, very well in tight corners and in drop-offs and in preloading the suspension to try to drive up something. So it really helps a lot. But
Yeah, they even in the video, they showed it in the video how it came up to that ledge and turned right off.
Exactly.
That was cool.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a fun rig. We spent a lot of time trying to get the details right, trying to get using Keith Lyon's vehicle as kind of our influence to make a CJ-7, which would be a fully built CJ-7, not necessarily a retro stock CJ-7.
Right.
So it is a little bit different. There's a lot of things that people can pick apart about it because it's not stock, stock CJ-7, but at the same time, it's a heavily modified CJ-7, which is really what we were wanting to do and what we really wanted to replicate. It
is cool. The detail on the interior. It even came with a little bag of, cup hole, like a soda can and a tumbler, right? And some spare parts. And some of these parts were, like you were saying, to convert it over to a 2-speed transmission, right?
Yeah, so the tumbler and the soda can were just kind of some little Easter eggs that we decided to do. Axial was known for that a long time ago, about doing Easter eggs inside of parts trees and in parts bags and stuff like that. And so we're really trying to get back to doing that because a lot of people, even though it's just in molded plastic, a lot of people love it. A lot of people like to see that we do it. A lot of people will take them and paint them up themselves and make them look however they wanted.
Sure.
You can print a decal and make the soda can look like whatever you want.
The real thing, right? Yeah.
The real thing. So it was good. We made opening center console, which is really kind of trick. You can put some stuff in it, maybe a wheel nut or I don't know, an extra body clip or something like that. Like it didn't really have a whole lot of a whole lot of what we're going to put in it, but we want it to make the functionality there. I don't think there's another RC car manufacturer that has, that has made a functioning center console.
Yeah.
Usually it's molded or, polycarbonate or something like that. So we really went to town on that, and the seat boosters in there, the seats we put seatbelt holes. I don't know if you've ever looked into the scale details of anything, but a lot of people really like to outfit the rigs and add a lot of scale details to it. So, in that parts bag is an A-pillar adapter and then an A-pillar adapter to put a windshield top light bar, which is really cool. And then also there's 2 holes just behind the windshield,
right
on the
here.
roll cage, where you could mount a different type of light bar.
Yeah.
Which I think that one's those are set up for the Proline light bar.
Yeah, so this replaces this, right? And then you can put a light bar across the top right here. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
We got a couple questions.
Okay, what do you got for questions?
Does it have metal gears?
Does it have metal gears?
Yeah, it's full ball bearings and metal gears.
In the tranny and the axles, everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Mark Davenport and Craig Huffman both asked, are they going to have an LJ conversion?
They want to stretch it even more.
Oh my gosh, we already stretched it. I mean, we did look into that. If you really look at the CJ-7, we've stretched it a little bit compared to what you might see. We've used the GenRight comp cut corners, where it's shoved the rear axle back,
Way back.
The rear axle,
Yeah.
the front axle is a little bit forward.
Yeah.
Is
So,
this
and some people want it with the rock crusher rear corners that you have, the rock crusher corners and stuff like that. A lot of people will stretch their CJs and they'll push that rear axle really far back and they'll just cut that corner and the tub of the Jeep just straight back, and I mean that's a thing, a lot of people do it, but personally I like to see the radius in there. If it gets a little bit lopped off in the back, I like to see that the radius is in there and the rear tire tucks up into that.
Tucks up, yeah, and you can see that on the video, and I'm flexing it over right now so they can see that. And I like the little D-rings on the bumper. They actually move on front and rear. They're real nice. So that's cool. And the lights. Yeah.
Is it a ready to run or a kit?
This is a ready to run. I think there's a kit too, but
no kit.
No.
It is ready to run as you see it. The red version, the silver version, or the gray version. It's ready to run. All you have to do is buy a battery for the car and a charger. It doesn't come with that, but it does come with AA's for the transmitter.
For the transmitter.
And all that stuff.
So, and it's fully assembled.
Our viewers would love a discount code.
Oh, they want a discount code.
They're all asking.
The viewers.
Oh man. my back itches like right here. I'm just kidding.
It's too new for that.
Can you show the front dig?
Actually, the price point at $499.99 is a smoking deal for everything that you're getting in that vehicle. So, some people may remember years back we came out with an early Ford, what we called an early Ford Bronco, and the price point was a bit higher. But we decided, we had the room to shove some things around and make some room and reduce the price. We're taking a little hit, personally, but it's a smoking price for what you're getting.
Cool. Everyone wants to know about other Jeep models, TJ, YJ. Any plans for those in the future?
Can you hear that? Any other plans for TJs, YJs? Now, of course, now that you came up with a CJ, do you want me to just tell them, sure, in a couple of years for each one?
If you want to back the development of a YJ, I'll do it for you. But otherwise, I am not a square headlight guy. Not when it comes to Jeep. Tony, you know I've been wheeling for quite a while, and I am a TJ, YJ, CJ, or should say that. TJ,
CJ.
CJ, TJ, JK.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
round headlight fan. So.
Yeah. Well, Jamie's already been over here taking measurements so he can 3D print a YJ grill for it.
I'm not surprised.
Does it have curry axles?
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, you know, it took us a couple years. This project's been in the work for a couple of years, so it takes a lot. You know, if we decide today, you know, for any of the fans that are listening or watching, if we decide today that we want to make a YJ, you know, we might say it today, but it's going to take 2 years.
A long time, right?
18 months. Like it can take a while.
Yeah. Okay, so the axles are high pinion. What are they modeled after? They're not like the rollback cover like a Curry.
They're based on what you might see as like a Curry Rock Jock 44.
Okay.
Or like a Dana 44, yeah.
Okay.
So they are kind of modeled after that.
Okay. Yep, and it's a 3-link front and a 4-link rear. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Standard front with like a track bar.
Yep.
In the front, and then the 4-link in the rear, and you know, the servos mounted up inside, and with that particular chassis, we did a lot of development early on to make sure that we didn't have bump steer, because that's a common problem in RC cars and in the one-to-one world, that you'll have bump steer when the suspension cycles.
Yep. Yeah. I was going to pop the body off and show everybody the cool little engine you got in there.
You totally can. Flip the pro tip is flip it upside down, put it on its lid. You've been there before, right?
Yeah. Thanks.
Put it on its lid, and then you can pull those body clips out, and then once you do that, flip it back on its wheels, and then you can lift the body up.
There we go. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show everybody. Check out the engine. It looks like an LS with a transmission and a transfer case. I don't know if you can zoom in on that. It's pretty darn cool.
It's got the LS swap engine, so to speak.
That's so cool.
Like to do the LS swap. When we did the early Ford Bronco, I actually did a Coyote 5-liter in the early Ford Bronco, because you know, it wouldn't be right to have an LS in an early Ford Bronco. So we made that change back then, but you know, the LS is a great motor.
It's cool, and it's got all the aluminum links, and here, let me flip it around so everybody can see that.
Where can they order these?
On horizonhobbies.com, right?
Horizonhobby.com. Yep, horizonhobby.com.
Singular.
Or axialadventure.com are two great places to look it up online and find some information about it, and purchase online if that's your choosing. Otherwise, go down to your local hobby store and you know, pre-order it with them.
Yep. So, what's that?
Is this modeled after Keith Lyon's Jeep?
It is. It is. So it's got a GenRight front bumper, GenRight rockers, GenRight front fenders, GenRight corner guards, GenRight rear bumper. It's got Mickey Thompson tires, Raceline wheels. I mean, it's really cool. GenRight cage. That's probably the.
That's a lot of people's favorite part is the cage.
Like the roll cage, like you say, the roll cage, the bumpers, the sliders, the fenders, the corners. It's all GenRight product, and other
so
people
cool.
that don't know the GenRight product may not know that GenRight doesn't brand everything, you know, and it's I think it's kind of cool, you know. I think that's a good thing that you guys have done, to where it's not what some people might consider an eyesore, you know, when you see an inner fender well and it's just got somebody's logo plastered all up in there, then you know, it's like, I just want an inner fender well. I don't really need all this branding.
Right.
Steve Bird asked if there's any chance we'll see this in the SCX-24.
That's the little guy like this, right?
Yeah.
The same thing scaled down. Will you guys do that?
So, you know, there's been a lot with this release of the CJ-7. There's been a lot of inquiry about doing the CJ-7 on an SCX-24 or the CJ-7 on an SCX-6. Quite frankly, it's been quite a lot of inquiries about it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to toss it around on the whiteboard and see if we can come up with something that's going to work and see if we can make it happen.
Well, that's great that you're getting so much interest.
Yeah. I mean, I've been blown away by the number of positive comments that we've had with this vehicle. A lot of it is, we always get kind of this stink eye of, oh, it's another Jeep, right? We get that a lot when we make, another JK or a JL or the JT or whatever we do. And with this rig in particular, it was quite interesting that there was maybe a couple people that said, oh, it's another Jeep, but everybody else was pretty much saying it's about time.
Right. All stoked. That's great. That's great.
Everybody was happy. So that was good.
Dana Seibert says, I already have one on order. Already have the Rock Jock HD 44 ready and waiting for it.
They're already making upgrade purchases before they even get the Jeep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that our brand is known for is being able to upgrade it, being able to change it, being able to modify it, and make it your own. Everybody wants to make it their own. So we have a lot of aftermarket support. We have a lot of option parts for it, from the Axial brand, and then obviously the Proline stuff, and then obviously a lot of aftermarket support. Just like you do with Jeeps. Right?
Yeah.
There's a ton of support in the RC car world for people making aftermarket parts for the Axial product line.
Yeah, that's cool. And then you called out the compound of these tires. What was the compound?
It's called R35.
R35.
The tire is the rubber compound.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty grippy.
What kind of shocks does it have?
Yeah, what are they? Is there a certain type of shock this is?
That's just our proprietary shock. It's a aluminum coilover. Sometimes we do some partnering with like Icon or Fox or King or something like that to try to get a shock that, kind of branded as their shock. But it is our shock. It's a newer version of a shock that we've improved over the years, that we've released with a couple of other products in our lineup, and it seems to perform better. And so we've been trying to incorporate that shock in the newer vehicles that we come out with.
Is it oil filled? It seems like it's got some dampening.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. It's like a real shock. There's it's not really oil. It's more like silicone or fish oil.
Right.
If you want to call it.
Yeah.
There's a piston in there with a couple of bleeder holes in the piston. And during development, a lot of times we have to look at the shock oil, we have to look at the spring, the spring tension, and then we also have to look at the piston size, and we have to make sure we have to take the time to try to dial that in so the vehicle performs at its best capability.
Cool. Yeah, you do a lot of homework on this. I'm surprised. I didn't realize that actually. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's a lot. We'll do different spring rates. We'll probably get, on each vehicle, 4 to 5 different spring rates to test on the vehicle. And then we'll also test the piston. If the piston holes are too open, we'll, create a new piston and make the hole smaller, or, maybe add a third hole to the piston or something like that. So there's a lot of work that goes in that, and then also the shock fluid. Maybe we need to change the weight of the shock fluid. But at the same time, you have a deadline to meet, right? And I kind of relate it to like a real car manufacturer. You have a timeline of when you need to release this vehicle, and when you're going to, you have timelines and windows of, I have this amount of time to dial in the suspension. I have this amount of time to dial in the suspension. And as a former KOH racer, you have a certain amount of time to dial your suspension in, and you're going to get it as best as you can, and then you're going to run with it because you're out of time.
Right. Right. You can play with it till the clothes come home. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do, internally we do a lot of that. We do a lot of shock tuning, so to speak, and we do a lot of internal development and testing to try to get the vehicle to perform the best that we can in the amount of time that we have.
That's cool. All right, so if you didn't see it, the vehicle comes in red and also kind of a silvery gray.
Metallic silver.
Yep, the red one is the one that is branded with the GenRight, and the other one is branded with Axial. And obviously,
this is going to show up.
Obviously, I didn't put the. Oh, you got one there. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that looks good with the silver and blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, we have a tire question.
Sure.
What are those? What size are they supposed to be? What will 42-inch fit? Mini 42s, and are the 1.9 Baja Boss available unmounted at this time?
Oh, I don't know if you heard all that.
No.
Okay.
I think I heard something about 32s and something about a Baja Boss.
Yeah, so they want to know what size tires these are supposed to be in scale. It's supposed to be a 40, right? Sure. Okay, and then these, I think we looked at them and they were 3.7.
They might be a 3.7 tire, yeah. I think we have it printed on the sidewall, which I'll look real quick to see if I can pick it out, but I don't have my... Tony, I'm getting old. I don't have my better glasses.
Yeah, that's okay. And then do you guys make a slightly bigger one than this, maybe the equivalent of a 42 or 43?
So we don't, but I believe Proline Racing does. They do make a bigger tire. It's always talked about in the scale world. Some people want the bigger tire, some people want the smaller tire. I actually, if I did a side-by-side comparison, I think the Bronco had a smaller tire out of the box.
Well, of course, as it should, right. Yes, yeah.
I'm not going to say no. So it had a more scale-appropriate tire to the Bronco if it was sitting on like a 33 or so. Scale's always kind of relative in the RC world because you can say it's a 40-inch tire, but then if you take a 40-inch tire and you stand next to it, where is a 40-inch tire in your waist? And then if you put a 10th scale figure next to the tire on a 10th scale vehicle, is it at the same height? Right? Is it
right?
Really
like at the waist, right?
Like,
yeah,
at the waist, right? There's a lot of factors that come into that, and so scale, which it's a huge thing right now, and us personally are trying to get away from saying it's a 10th scale vehicle because it becomes kind of a relative term. Like you have to scale things a little bit differently to make it fit and look proportionate on the vehicle, right?
Gotcha.
Like you can look at the car and say, well, it's a 12.3 inch wheelbase. And if you do the math, then you're like, okay, well that's a 115 inch car. Like, okay, you're right. And nobody would really do that with a CJ-7, but does it look right sitting on this chassis?
It does. Yes.
It does, right? You
Yeah.
know, the tires do look proportionate. So
Yeah.
scale's a tough one. It's a can of worms when people really start scaling it up.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's fun, right? That's the whole thing. What are the questions?
If our tire was, what do you say? I guess if our tire was 3.7 inches tall, that would be a 37. Is that correct?
In 10th scale, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Craig Huffman says to tell Randall, I absolutely love the Desert Turtle Racing YouTube series.
Loves the Desert Turtle Racing series on YouTube. Craig Huffman.
Wow, thank you.
Craig Huffman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it come with any
Craig
Vanquish parts?
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was Tony. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but it was a very good time for us to be part of KOH and do a bunch of, you know, King of the Hammers racing in the 4500 class, and you know, just kind of document it. You know, trying to make it a try to get people fired up for King of the Hammers.
Yep.
You know?
Yep, for sure. Somebody asked about Vanquish parts for it. Does it come with anything from Vanquish? No.
It does not come with anything from Vanquish because technically they are a competitor, but they are also a aftermarket producer. So they produce aftermarket parts for the Axial SCX-10 3 line of vehicles. So they make wheels, you know, Vanquish beadlock wheels. They make gears. They make the Dana 44 axles. They make a bunch of stuff that would bolt onto this vehicle.
Are they the ones that do the little winches?
No, I think that's RC4WD that you might be thinking of.
Okay.
They did the little worn winch stuff.
Yeah.
And Vanquish makes really good billet aluminum beadlock wheels, and they make the aluminum Rock Jock 44 housings, the Rock Jock 60 housings. So they make a lot of that stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Not cheap.
No.
No.
But is a Curry Rock Jock cheap?
Right. You get what you pay for. Yeah.
It's all relative.
All right.
Yeah.
Nobody's asked yet, but the price point is $499, right?
Correct. $499.99
Yep.
is the correct price. If anybody saw it advertised higher, there was some confusion there for a little bit that we had it advertised at $574. And most of that, I mean, I could pretty much point the finger myself. Wait, how do you do that? Because we transitioned to a new ERP system, and we're all still kind of learning, how everything works in that system. And one of the things that technically I screwed up on was I had the price set, but I didn't have it set at the right date. So it went out to the world at the wrong price.
Gotcha. Okay, but $499 is the right price.
$499.
And then how much is the
$499.
battery? What does the battery usually cost?
So it varies on the battery. You can get a battery for like $50, or you can get a battery for like $150. Just kind of depends on your budget. And then same with the chargers.
Okay.
The Spectrum batteries and the Spectrum chargers, they have a big enough line that if you only want to spend $50 or $100 to get into it, you can do that. If you wanted to spend $200 on a better charger or a better battery, you can do that as well.
Okay.
Okay, serious question. Can we get a Tony Pellegrino action figure with a yellow hat?
I don't know. I've never seen anything like that. A Tony Pellegrino action figure to go in the Jeep.
Oh God, Tony, I like you, buddy, but no.
It was somebody asking.
Several people asking.
You might get is a yellow hat.
A yellow hat, yeah.
Okay, can we get a yellow hat action figure to drive it?
Who makes the little action figures that go inside?
It varies.
It does. Okay.
Yeah, you got to be into dolls and go hunt those down and
Gotcha.
find the right size that fits. Sometimes I've seen some WWE or WWF wrestlers fit in there, or some sort of action figure, G.I. Joe, or, some people find some video game action figure, Super Mario Brothers or something that fits in the car.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I have no idea. I don't own action figures.
Jerry says, you got me and my order is in.
Okay, no.
Okay, so people are ordering while we're online here. So that's good.
Good.
That's good.
Good.
Could we have a
So
couple?
my serious question is, King of the Hammers, are you done racing, or are you racing again?
You mean me personally or GenRight?
No, you personally.
It's always in the back of my mind that I'd still like to race, but for now I've kind of officially handed the torch over to Jordan.
Sure.
If funding fell in our lap, then yes, I would race again. But as you know, it's very expensive, especially to race two cars, right? Because I don't want to boot Jordan so that I can race. So
Of course.
Yeah.
Best. What is that phrase? Best way to be a $1 million race car driver is to start with $1 billion.
Right.
Yeah, I know. It was not cheap when we were doing it.
No. And I really wanted to. Oh boy, looks like we lost him. Dang, we're already.
Well, we have a couple off-topic questions.
Okay, sure.
Let's see. For you, hold on.
I don't even know that I can get him back.
Tony, my 2012 JKU Elite chassis build should be finished in the next month or two.
Okay.
Should I buy a power tank nitrogen charging system for ongoing shock charges and setup?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't necessarily have to be a power tank. Power tank makes the cool little unit with the gauge on it for you to fill the shocks or the air bumps, or they're hydraulic bumps, but we call them air bumps. and that's important to tune the suspension. So you're more likely to change the pressure in the bump stops than you are in the shocks. So the shocks need to be checked routinely to make sure that they're not leaking if you're looking for consistent performance. I'll give you an idea. When we're racing, the shock nitrogen pressure will be checked the morning before we take off from the start line. Some racers that are very adamant about it actually check them right on the start line. So it's one of those things where you want to make sure that you've got that consistency so that you as a driver have the performance that you're looking for. So yeah, I definitely would recommend that.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the little guy racing car that you have out?
Sure, yeah. And you know, before we get too far, I do want to, we lost Randall, but I do want to thank Randall Davis for being on with us. That was super cool. And I personally really appreciate him bringing this to fruition with GenRight on it. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, everyone loves it.
Okay, so I grabbed my 24 scale just to have out here so you guys could see, you know, what the size difference is. It's quite a bit. And these are considered to be 42s on the little guy. This is obviously an upgraded chassis. Jordan built this for me, tricked it all out.
Jordan's watching.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah. So,
you know, I got this about a year ago from Jordan. And I started with an actual, you know, Axial 1/24th, and then Jordan tricked it out for a few $100, and you know, now I've got this. So it's got a lot of the cool. It doesn't have all the cool goodies, but it has a lot of them. So you can always go over to LGRP, and maybe Jordan can post a link and show you guys where to go to get that stuff too.
Cameron says Rhett wants one of those now.
Yeah,
CJ.
it's really cool, and that front dig is sweet for sure.
Can you show that again?
Yeah. Turn this back on. Okay.
Keith Lyon's watching.
Is he?
Don't drive off the edge.
And you can front dig in forward or reverse. I haven't put the body back on, and I just unplugged something, so sorry. I got to get used to this
Bob Becker
thing.
says, I don't know what's cooler, having an RC car style after yours or having your car on a sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's, and it's funny you say that because I had my Jeff sweatshirt on before the show, but I was too hot. So I was wearing it because it matches my yellow hat quite nicely. So these are still available. Yep. And yeah, I was going to remind everybody, you know, we still have all of those holiday, you know, gift ideas out there. I talked about them on last week's show, but we've got a whole bunch of things for under $100. And you know, they're great. It's everything from apparel to, you know, gadgets like this thing that holds your front license plate. You know, you just put this on the front bumper and you put your D-ring back through here, and then your license plate's on the front. You can also then take it off when you get to the trail so you don't smash it, because that's the most common thing, is if you mount a front license plate, it just gets smashed on something. So that's the nice part about having it done like that. So, but yeah, we've got the sweatshirts, hats, socks, you know, gloves, you name it. We've got it, and all great gift ideas. So, yeah.
Myrna says, I've been looking for Dana 60 5 nuts with hub. I don't see them in Curry Enterprises.
Dana?
Or do I need to call the company to be made with the setup I want?
Yeah, probably. It'd be best to just call over there, and they'd be able to either help you or get you going in the right direction. And it's either going to be them or, you know, somebody like UConn, for sure.
Mark Davenport said I wanted a Jeff Sweaty shirt, but no XL.
Oh, there's none right now?
I don't know. Maybe they sold out.
Wow. We order more all the time, so if it runs low, they'll definitely order more.
Call in, Mark.
Yep.
Let's see. I agree that we need a Tony action figure to drive it.
Well, maybe Jennings could do the homework and find one.
Yeah, maybe I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Craig says I wear my GenRight t-shirt every Wednesday.
Nice. Thank you. We appreciate the patronage for sure.
I think Ecto Sports, is that Randall?
Yeah.
He says, thanks for having me, guys. It was great to chat about the rig.
Yeah, sorry. We ran out of time
we
on
lost
Zoom.
you there, Randall.
Yeah. I guess they have a time limit for rookies like us.
There was one other question. Oh, Nick Repinich. Will there be a special class for racing this at KOH booth, the Axial's KOH booth?
Oh, that's a good question.
That would
If
be
not,
fun.
we could do it. We could do it at the GenRight camp or
Yeah.
booth or whatever. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. So.
Oh, Jorge says we will start a fund for Tony to race again.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Michael Augustus says Tony needs to race again.
That'd be awesome. My car's still here.
He also says we need a 1/10 scale of Jeff's Jeep. That would be cool.
There you go.
Little Banshee.
Yeah. Yeah, you could probably modify this enough to make it look like the Banshee.
Yeah, the gray blue one is fairly close.
Yeah.
Let's see. Two Feather Channel asks, when will you be selling the new JL front inner fenders?
Those, so we got 10 sets of them. Most all of them, if not all of them, were spoken for. So we're running the next batch now that we know everything's cool. And I didn't get a chance to show you guys, but the way we design them now, you know, on a fender like this, can you zoom over here? Mm-hmm. So whether it's a JK or a JL, this fender skin is what the bumper's bolted to, or the fender's bolted to. Well, now on the JL, we built a whole new thing that ties it to the inner structure on the top and in the back, so that the fender is really tough now. It's not just bolted onto that flimsy skin. So I was hoping to get a set in here and actually show you guys, you know, how all that works. But maybe on the next show I can do that for sure. So.
Little
What else you got?
Banshee.
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony Chevalier says he didn't get a T-shirt when he ordered aluminum TJ fender set and sliders.
Okay. When you were checking out, there was a little thing you had to fill in, and I guess a lot of people missed it. Just shoot in an email with your order number and your shirt size, and then they'll send you out something for sure. That's happened to a few people that I've fielded emails from, so no problem at all. We got plenty of shirts, so we ordered big.
Steve says this JK would look great with a Shaka wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah? Think
Yeah.
so?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And then, if you guys do, if in fact we are out of this sweatshirt in the size you want, if you order them, they'll make more. You know, basically when we see the demand coming, we just reorder, and the place that makes them is right around the corner. So it's pretty easy to get them. So, okay.
Looks like we're caught up on questions.
Okay. Then I had some questions that were emailed to me. Maybe you could read me these.
Sure.
And I could answer them for everybody. These were folks that weren't brave enough to ask them on the show, but they sent me an email with questions. So Jennings can read these off, and then I'll try to answer them.
Okay, Brian Roth, Jeep TJ, 98 TJ, GenRight suspension, cage, armor, and bumpers, stock Sahara axles with ARB front and rear, 35-inch tires. What was the original spring rates on my King coilovers, front and back? I changed them a few years back and did not write the old rates down. Thanks.
Okay, so when you get King coilovers from us, typically what we're going to send you is 150 over 200 in the front and 200 over 200 or 200 over 250 in the rear. That's pretty common. Sometimes we switch them depending on, you know, what engine you have. Sometimes it'll be 150 on top in the rear with a 200, and then it'll be 200 over 200 or 200 over 250 in the front. Depending, you know, like if you've got the straight six, those were pretty heavy, so a lot of the time then we'll do 200 over 250 in the front. So, but between those springs, and by the way, that's usually 50 pounds, within 50 pounds of where you need to be. And remember, I know I'm talking faster, it's always hard to, and I have a coilover right here, but I can't get over there. You don't want more than a 100-pound rate difference between the top and the bottom. So if you have a 200 over 300 or a 150 over 250, that's fine. But the moment you go to 200 or 300, you got to keep that within a 100-pound range, okay? So you just don't want that to vary too far. So you don't want a 150 over 300 is what I'm getting at, okay? That's too big of a change through the stroke of the shock itself, okay?
Anthony Chevalier asks, any plans to make an aluminum gas tank filler bezel on a TJ? The stock plastic one isn't going to cut it on the aluminum corners.
Ah, gotcha. That's the first request I've heard for that. We certainly can. We already make one for the JK, which could probably be retrofitted to the TJ, but it's also set up for the quick fill. So I don't know if you've been over to our website. Let me, since we have the thing here. And by the way, I don't know if you saw what I just did, but I went to the search box right here. It's at the top of every page. I typed in the word quick. You can type in part of the description or the actual part number, and it will give you everything that is related to that. So here's the bezel I was talking about. And let me scroll down here. And if you click on the picture, it will open even bigger. So here you can see this is a really nicely fabricated aluminum bezel. And it looks like we have more pictures. So there it is on the Jeep. And what I typically do is, because I've got a corner guard on there, I just drill and tap the corner guard and I just put the screws right in. That way I don't have to deal with a nut on the back. And I use a little Torco grease on the tap, and I just use the drill, and it taps it as fast as you can take that thing in and out.
Oh, Michael Atkinson said, I would like a gas filler for a TJ if you guys do make one.
Yeah, okay, so what's cool about this one is, although this is the quick fill port, this comes off. So you can take this off and go to a regular gas station, which is what I typically do, just like that. So now you just stick the pump in there and fill away. So you can do either. We use this one because you can put 22 gallons of gas in 30 seconds. So when we are racing and time matters, you can put a lot of gas in real quick. So
Matt McDonough asks, is a 35 spline axle shaft and 60 series axle housing enough rear axle for 500 horsepower and 37-inch tires?
That should be. So Jordan, when we had the 4500 car right there, can you zoom in on that, please? Yeah. Okay, so that car had 650 horsepower, 37-inch tires, and that had 35 spline axles all the way around. And it had 650 horsepower. Now they're Currys, right? And they were good quality axles. They were either 4340 chromoly, or they were 300M. So we transitioned to 300M in the later years with that car, but we never had an axle issue in that with that kind of horsepower.
Mark Davenport said, digging the new Terramoto wrap. You need some scratches on it, but
except it's not
it's
Terramoto.
Not Terramoto.
So this, if you missed last week's show, this is a JK that we helped build for a customer, and for whatever reason, the guy changed directions, and I bought it back. So I am looking to sell this JK. This has an LS3 in it. It's got a 6-speed transmission. It's got Dynatrac axles, front and rear, high pinion. All the GenRight armor, GenRight cage, GenRight aluminum roof, GenRight cargo rack. You can see all these KC lights on it. It's got a warm winch on the front, 40-inch Mickey Thompson Baja Boss tires. It's got the brand new Raceline Rhino wheels. This particular one has Radflow 2.5 coilovers on it, but this is a nice Jeep Mastercraft seats with seat heaters. It's got an upgraded Rockford Fosgate stereo in it, and it's actually got a race radio, intercom system, It's a really nice Jeep. So if you're looking for a built Jeep that you can pick up and start driving right away, man, this one is ready to go. Atlas, I should mention it's got an Atlas too. So it is really a nice vehicle.
Do you have a link to this Jeep anywhere?
I do not. If you're interested, you can message or email me. My email is real simple. It's just Tony@GenRight, or you can message me through Facebook, and I will send you over the information.
Okay, Heaven Guard asks, on a TJ, do you have to cut the inside tub to put on a 2.5 to 3.0 coilovers, or is just the tower shocks okay?
You can run up to a 14-inch travel coilover without cutting through the tub on a TJ, and what happens is if you go over 14-inch, you're over traveling the U-joints on the drive shafts. Your steering isn't made to go that far. There's a whole bunch of issues the moment you go over 14-inch. So 14 has become the magic number, and you're gonna still ramp, at 1100 for a stretched Jeep, and that's more than enough, and it'll still drive nice on the street, still drive nice off road. So 14-inch is really, and our towers are made for that. So.
Steve Waterman asked, what should someone expect when adding or subtracting minor amounts of nitrogen in a coilover?
So if you have a coilover like this one with a remote reservoir, when the coilover is fully extended, meaning, if you take the weight off the vehicle, that coilover should have 150 PSI. So inside this reservoir is a floating piston. So the piston's sitting right about here right now, and so there's oil on this side and nitrogen on this side. And as the shock travels, that piston moves back and forth. And the reason we're doing this is because we're putting the oil under pressure so that it doesn't foam. Okay, so normally if you just had a piston going through the oil, it's going to aerate, and then the effectiveness, the dampening control goes away. So in this case, what we're doing is putting all that oil under pressure, 150 PSI, and then it helps to keep the dampening consistent. Okay.
They also said, I'm worried about the thickness, if it will hit or rub on the frame. The inside tub to fit the coilovers?
So when it comes to, so first off, you can only French the mounts into the frame so far, which happens to still be within the inner fender well. So then it's all about how wide your axles are. So what you got to do is you need to choose wide enough axles so that the shocks aren't straight up and down, because if they are, then when it articulates, the shock is going to bang into the inside, right? So the shocks need to be angled so that as you articulate, you've got the room for the shock to move. And so I'm going to guess if you want to run a 2.5, you need to be on at least a 70-inch wide axle, if not wider. Forget about a 3.0. That's just out of the question. You're going to have nothing but trouble in there.
Mark Lawrence says, shock question. How do you go from empty passenger seats to a full Jeep? Best guess you are adding close to 500 pounds of passenger weight. How do you keep from riding on the bumps?
Yeah, okay, that's done with the secondary nuts. So let me come around here. And the secondaries, I don't know if you can see it. Can you? Or maybe, here, the rear one's easier to see. Let me grab this light and we'll come over here. Okay, there's two, can you see pretty good? Mm-hmm. Okay, on the threaded shock body, there's two, they look like spacers, but they're actually nuts. Some people call them crossover nuts. I call them secondary nuts, because what they're doing is when these nuts hit this plastic slider, it kicks in the second spring rate. So the top spring is generally regarded as your ride spring, okay? So when you're on with an empty vehicle, you're gonna be on this, it'll ride nice and soft, it'll soak up all the washboard chattery stuff. And then when you load it up, what'll happen is this will set right into the second spring, and that should keep the thing from just sagging out and riding on the bumps. Setting these is very, very important. They should be no more away from the plastic slider than the thickness of your finger, and they can be closer if you need to soak up additional travel, right, before you get to the bottom mount. By the way, you need 2 inches of what they call acceleration zone from the bottom of the hydraulic bump stop to the pad. Because what will happen is it takes that much to accelerate enough to make the air bump move in, or it's going to be very, very harsh. And by the way, like I was mentioning before, the bump stop is what you end up tuning. So typically I start with my bump stops at 250 PSI because you never actually want to feel that hard bump. You need to keep your suspension from hitting hard like that, or you're going to damage a wheel bearing, or you're going to crack something on the frame. You should never ever feel that hard bump. And you got to keep increasing that nitrogen pressure 50 pounds at a time until you don't feel that anymore. You cannot go any higher than 300 PSI in the bumps. So you're going to have to find something between 150 and 300 that'll meet your need. And when I run mine at 250, that's all you need. You can hit some big stuff and not bottom out.
Okay.
What else you got? We're just about out of time, so we can, actually, why don't we do our card?
All right.
All right, you're going to read the question, right?
I am. No, you should.
I should?
Yeah.
Okay. Tonight's question, because Axial was our guest, is in what state and what year was Axial established?
No Googling.
No Googling. First person that answers on either platform wins the $250 K&N gift card.
Ask it one more time.
So, Axial as a company, in what state was it established? In what year?
No Googling.
Okay. So, we will figure it out over the next few minutes and see what we got.
Or closest guess if nobody gets it.
Yeah. So, really, really good company. Those people have been great to work with. They licensed with Jeep, with Mickey Thompson, with Raceline, with GenRight. Really a nice collaboration of things. So pretty darn cool.
No.
Nobody's gotten it
David
yet.
Smith just got it on YouTube.
Yeah, nice.
California, 2005.
Good job, David Smith.
And we had some close guesses. But yep, you got it right, David Smith. If you will tell him how we can get it.
Just email me at tony@genright.com, and I'll send you the information on the card, and you can call it right in and redeem your $250 prize. Or you can select a whole bunch of products, for that amount too. So it's pretty cool. All right. Well, any last second questions? Oh, you can read one more off there, sure.
Okay, Sean Holland has a Jeep TJ 2004 TJR. What are the advantages or disadvantages to keeping a lower unsprung weight? Planning on doing your Elite kit on my JKU, but looking at Trail Gear 9 with high pinion over the Curry for weight savings.
Okay, so it is a big misnomer that the 9-inch axles are a lot lighter than, say, the 60s or the 70s. We have a customer who just did the switch, what I call the switcheroo, and after he spent over $20,000 to switch out, he saved 120 pounds, so 60 pounds per axle was all he saved. Now, that said, unsprung weight for high performance, high speed is important, okay? But for rock crawling and most trail driving, it is not important. You actually want that weight down low. In a lot of cases, the heavier axles are like putting somebody on the front bumper. It helps keep that front end down. It lowers your center of gravity. It's not exactly light, but it also has a lot of strength, and it's the strength where you need it. So, you know, when you guys put in a lower range transfer case and you've got all that extra torque, that's why the one guy asked if 35 spline axles were enough. I mean, you're right on the edge of what a 35-inch or 35 spline axle can handle, whether it's a 37-inch tire or a 40-inch tire. You know, I ran 40s on 35s, 35-inch or 35 spline axle shafts for a long time. So it can be done. You gotta be a little bit more gentle. But once you go to a 40 spline, then you know you can unleash it a little bit more. So yeah, very
Craig
very good
asked
question.
what was the axial answer. I missed it.
It was California 2005.
Yep.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. We will be back on next Wednesday with another great Tech Talk show for you. Look forward to talking to you then. Till then, have a great time.